Here's the best position that you should be birthing in when you are giving birth.
I know you're waiting to hear one single position that is hands down the best position for birth.
It's not that one.
We're not all about that bullshit. I will tell you one position that is absolutely not useful for birth, and it's that one. Flat on your back. It might be what we see on the television, but it is not the most useful position for birthing a baby. And in actual fact, it can present dangers to a baby and mean that they struggle with their heart rate and things like that, that people will often attribute to just birth itself, but it's the way that we were doing it.
Now, we are not going to say, be in this position, be in that position. The position that we should be in is the one that our body is telling us to get into. Yes, there are positions that can be really helpful if you feel a little bit stuck. Try and remember upright, forward and open, working with gravity. However, listen to what your body is telling you to do, because sometimes those positions might be stood up with on your tiptoes and flicking your hips back and forward to move baby. If we were listening to what our body was doing more instinctively, birth would be easier. Instead, a lot of the time, depending on where you birth as well, you might be told on your back and that's it. Actually, it can be so detrimental unless your body is telling you get on your back, which I'd say for 99% of people it wouldn't be saying that. Then get off your back and move and find the position that works for you.
There are instances where people do feel like their body is calling for them to lie on their back, and often that is to do with the position of baby, and that is actually what would instinctively help that person. So if you feel that urge to lie on your back, absolutely do it. But do remember that the environment that you're birthing your baby in is likely to give you some information about what's acceptable or what's expected of you in terms of your baby's position. If you walk into a birth centre that's got ropes hanging down from the ceiling and a bed that folds away into the wall and just isn't in use unless it's for sleep, there's a birth pool, there's a birth ball, and you just have loads of space to mobilise, you are likely to use that and instinctively just kind of move about and find what works for you. If you walk into a room and there's a bed and a little bit of space around it, you're going to kind of feel like the bed is where you're expected to be, especially if you're invited to lie down there for examinations and things like that. So do be mindful of where you are choosing to give birth and what options that will give you with your position.
You might have heard of something called biomechanics. Biomechanics for birth is an incredible thing that we are seeing arise in, which is essentially just trying to get our bodies back to moving in the way they want to move anyway. It is positions to help our baby get into more optimal positions. We did an episode of a lovely woman called Sally, and she's a chiropractor, and we will pop the link in the description so that you can go and listen to our podcast with her, where she talks about our body in birth. Positions matter. They do matter, and we shouldn't be having our positions dictated to us by somebody else. Somebody should say to us, move. How do you feel would be the best position? And those positions look wildly different to absolutely everyone. And some of them might look absolutely insane. You might need your partner's help to really like squat if that's what you feel like doing. You might want to be on all fours, rocking backwards and forwards. There really is no, this is the best position. It is what is the best position for you and what your body is telling you to do. It does mean you're going to have to learn to tune into your body a little bit. But honestly, in labour, if you can let go and let the outside noise bubble away, you can find that in yourself.
When it comes to your birth position, it's about remembering that labour is a thing that you and your baby do together. So when you create space and you're upright and you're using gravity, you are assisting your baby to make all the movements that they need to make in order to be born. And also you are creating space in your pelvis so that you're less likely to suffer pain and difficulty. You know, when we lie on our back and we have our tailbone pressed into a bed, then we aren't able to have our pelvis expand in the way that it would do if we were maybe up on all fours or standing. And so it can feel more difficult to birth our baby because it is.
Yeah.
It is actively harder to do it. There's less space in the pelvis, and we are actually asking our baby to go uphill a little bit as well. If you were to look at diagrams and things of the shape of the pelvis and that kind of route out for baby, then you'll see that when someone lies flat on their back, it's an uphill route for baby, and that does make it difficult.
In fact, we can show you. Here is a female pelvis. Now let's lay down. Oh, look, this little thing, it cannot move because your baby is going to have to go uphill to get out. However, if you get up, get off your back, it can then actually move out the way, and baby's not going to make such an uphill turn to get out. It's going to mean that labour is shorter and more comfortable. And my God, that is what we want for you all.